dealing with the heartbreak and every emotion that comes with finding out that your spouse cheated is no doubt a very traumatic event. And whether or not you are happy in your marriage, the pain is still very much real. It's selfish people who cheat on their spouses. And there's something missing in that person, in the people who cheat. And it's the feeling of missing something that it makes us vulnerable to searching for ways of filling that void. Now, that's not an excuse, but it's just kind of a way to try to understand maybe why cheating happens. The truth is, we're all broken people, and most of our lives, we just go on treating our symptoms. We never really want to get to the root cause of things because that's hard. It's difficult to face our problems. It's difficult to face the root cause of why we are the way we are, or what's missing or broken in our lives. And most of us would rather not deal with those things. But healing is possible, especially with God. The Message version of Psalm 34, verse 18 says, "If your heart is broken, you will find God right there. If you're kicked in the gut, He'll help you catch your breath." So, if your spouse wants to leave and they aren't remorseful or humbly willing to take responsibility for their actions, let them go. Okay? We can't chase anyone. We shouldn't chase anyone. And we can't force or manipulate anyone into loving us or loving us properly. It's a choice. Each person has that choice, and it's a decision they have to continuously make. And we can't force anyone to come back into relationship with us. We can't force anyone to treat us right, to love us right, to respect us. It's something that they have to do. And why would we want to force anyone to do that anyways? It wouldn't be genuine. It wouldn't be pure. And, it's just built on a rocky foundation. So we need to be healed. Okay, we have to be whole. We have to, before we can truly pour into anyone else. We have a need for healing, for that emptiness, that void, and no other person can fill that. We need the power of the Holy Spirit, the power of God, to change our hearts so that we have the ability to love unconditionally. So whether something feels missing or not, or we lose interest, or something else tempts us, we would have the power of God. We'd have the tools that we need, the resources to help us resist those temptations, so that we can face our problems instead of running from them. We can work through those problems with our spouse and with God, and truly find resolution instead of just giving up or turning away. So how do we heal our hearts after such betrayal? We need to accept our feelings and let go of the pain, to give it to God, to cry out to God and lay it at His feet, because we can't avoid dealing with these hard feelings. We shouldn't run to unhealthy habits like drinking or drugs or some new person to help numb the pain. We need to allow ourselves to feel every emotion, as messy as it's going to be. It's okay to feel sad and hurt and upset and just so lost and confused, and there's literally so many emotions. There's your mind just goes to so many, and if you're experiencing this, then you know what I'm talking about, because it's a very traumatic thing. And so it's okay to feel all those things, to accept whatever you are feeling, but then let it go. Give it to God, and realize that you're not at fault. It's not your fault. No matter the reason that your spouse gave you for why they cheated, it's not your fault. People have a choice to make, when they make these decisions. It's their choice. It's a reflection on their morals, their values, and their love. And, none of us deserve for this to happen. And, we shouldn't seek revenge. Don't seek revenge. We may be tempted to get even, and our thoughts can really go to some dark places in these times, but maybe you find yourself wanting your spouse to feel the same pain that you have felt, but seeking revenge, it will never bring any lasting joy or satisfaction. It can just create more damage. It can inflict more damage to an already sensitive situation, painful and sensitive situation for both parties. I mean, as long as most of the time, I think that the cheating spouse will eventually be remorseful for it. So it could further compact the damage and the heartbreak. And it's important to not act out of our emotions. That's definitely a time when we need to sit with our emotions and process them. Don't make any decisions while it's so fresh and you have, you're in the emotions. So, we don't think clearly when we're going through such emotional turmoil. This is a big thing. It's not a light bad day. It's a traumatic event, and it truly is life-changing. So we shouldn't take any drastic measures to make a decision in those moments, especially when you're tempted to seek revenge. And we really have to slow down and think things through, and we just wait for our hearts to calm before we really make any decisions, because we can't trust our thoughts right now. We can't trust our emotions, because especially to lean on life altering decisions. So another thing, why seek revenge? Why let someone else's negative actions affect your character? So don't sway, don't be moved in your your core beliefs and values with the temptation to seek revenge. Vengeance is the Lord's anyways. And then we should limit the people that we involve, because it's tempting to ask people for their opinions. It's tempting to share what happened and to seek other people's advice, or opinion on the situation. But when you involve others in it, in your relationship issues, it can just complicate the matters, and then the situation can become bigger than what it needs to be. And so that also makes it harder for us to heal, because the more people that are involved, they could days later or weeks later ask you how you're doing, ask you about the details, or ask you something. So it further delays the healing process. And I think it's best to deal with cheating, infidelity directly, discreetly with our spouses. And I'm not saying we can't talk to anyone about it, but we should just be careful, be mindful and selective of the people that we choose to involve in it, the people we choose to confide in, because not everyone's got your best interests at heart, and we just need to do it in a constructive way. Just be mindful of that, not just be out there telling everyone what happened and trying to make the other person look bad. It's just you got to be careful with that situation, with who you involve. And then I know we all desire to feel supported, and we should be supported in these stressful, traumatic times in our lives, but we shouldn't bring people unnecessarily into the drama. And you should really give yourself time to heal. There's no set time limit on that either, because everyone is different. Everyone's level of commitment and love and the place that they were in is different. So we can't really say that, it should only take a week or two or a couple months or a year. We have no idea. Just give yourself the time that you need. And because getting past the pain of your spouse being unfaithful, it's very difficult. It's one of the hardest things to do, because it's a severe wound to this sacred marriage bond, the sacred marriage vows, of a secure relationship. When, we have the dating world, boyfriend and girlfriend, or even fiance, and that it's still somewhat fluid. Like it can still, but when you have a marriage, it feels more solid. It's more, it's just lasting. It feels more cemented in. It's more secure. So that really, cheating within your marriage, it really breaks that down. It really crumbles everything that you thought was safe. And that secure relationship that you once felt it's a grieving process. It's really life altering, and I don't think people realize how severe cheating is. And so just remember that it takes time, and processing all the feelings that arise, but you will get through it. Okay, and I know that in the midst of the pain and the brokenness, it doesn't seem like there's anything else, that everything is just, you can't see past it. Okay, but there is life after this, and the days do get brighter eventually. But another part of healing is forgiveness, and I don't know, a lot of people I think struggle with forgiveness. Like we can say that we forgive, but to truly have that forgiveness in our heart, to truly be healed from it, it's a choice, and it's not so much for the person who hurt you, but it's more so for yourself, for setting yourself free of that, the weight and the bitterness and anger that can entrap us. And so it's good to remain open to forgiveness, not just for the other person, but for yourself especially. And our hearts do heal. They're the most resilient of muscles. They get broken over and over and over again, but they still continue to beat. Okay, and it will be all right eventually. And so it is possible to stay together. We have to make that choice now of whether, and both people have to agree, but whether to stay together or to part ways at this time. Because, this is biblical grounds for divorce. This is a breaking of the marriage covenant, and so it's a very serious thing. So now both people have to make this decision. But it's possible to restore trust and the relationship. But both of them, both the husband and wife, we have to commit. We have to commit to moving forward and putting in the work, the work that's required. And it's going to be hard. So you have to decide whether or not you're going to stay, and then you do what you said you're going to do. Don't go back and forth on it. You have to make up your mind, and then you go with that, both of you, because like I said, it's going to be work, and you guys have to be committed up front. You guys have to know that it is work. You have to decide if it's worth it, if the marriage is worth it, and everything that you've built together. Some marriages come out even stronger after, and better after this kind of betrayal. But the spouse who was betrayed, they have to give the cheating spouse, they have to give them, the time and opportunities to earn their trust again. So you can't be throwing it back in their face. You can't be bringing it up all the time. Yes, there's still going to be, it's kind of like it's a touchy area. You have to figure out what works for you. That's why also to be working on your own healing, so that you can move forward in the healing of the relationship, of the marriage. So yeah, just work on your own healing and forgiving, so that you don't have any unresolved pain or memories or bitterness that you project onto your spouse when you're trying to reconcile and move forward. We have to remain respectful, and we have to try not to make the restoration process any more harder than it's already going to be, because it is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. And your spouse, they have to be invested and hold themselves accountable. They have to be willing to let you hold them accountable also for a while. Not saying forever, because eventually you do have to, if you see that the trust it's hard, it's like not coming easily, or it's taking way longer to trust, and you still feel that, like, you maybe need to reassess the situation. But the point is, like, don't make it harder. Like, keep bringing things up, and the other person needs to know that they're going to have to be vulnerable and open and accountable for moving forward to rebuild the trust in the situation. And they have to be able to deal with the feelings of distrust that may keep coming up for a while. It's just part of redeeming the situation. So we also need to be mindful of protecting our peace, the peace within ourselves in this situation, and in any relationship. We have to be, it's important to be mindful and deliberate of the choices that we make in all of our relationships, even the things that we're exposed to. And there's so much in life that we cannot control, so, and especially other people. But once we realize that and we learn to let things go, we can experience more peace. We can hold on to more peace in the midst of all things. The Lord, He gives us a peace that surpasses all understanding. And we can focus on what we can control, on us, our thoughts and our reactions and the way that we handle and process things, because everything starts with a thought. Don't be afraid to say no, okay? And set boundaries. In all of our relationships, we should have boundaries, and we should know exactly what it is that we will and will not tolerate, what we won't bend on, and we should try to distance ourselves, especially in this healing process. Try to distance yourself from negative or unsupportive people, because we don't need anyone else making this harder for us. It's already hard enough. And try not to take things too personally. Remain humble and use wisdom, in your communications, especially with your spouse. And remember that our feelings, yes, they're valid, but they're not always truth. They're not always the truth. So, we lie to ourselves a lot. You think something, and it's probably not true. But so just keep that in mind, because just because you feel something, yes, you feel it. It's real that you feel it, but it's not. Is it the truth? Is it the truth of God's word? So, and then practice gratitude. Like, no matter what happens in our lives, there's always something that we can be thankful for. Okay, we need to try to focus on forgetting the past and look forward to what lies ahead. Look forward to the better days. Look forward to the healing. Look forward to the restored trust and friendship and the solid foundation that maybe was cracking or faulty before. So find something to hold on to look forward to keep you moving through the hard process. And then be brave and courageous, okay? And practice moderation and self-control. Do the right thing, because we are what we repeatedly do. And gain as much wisdom as you can through all of this, and never stop praying. Don't neglect prayer, because that truly is healing. It's where we get our strength, we get some answers, we get wisdom, we get guidance, we have that release. You can cry out to God anytime, day or night, anywhere. So don't neglect prayer. It's really important. And remember that both the husband and the wife, they have a responsibility to uphold their end of the marriage vows, of the marriage promise, of the marriage commitment and the marriage covenant. We each have our responsibilities, our unique roles. The husbands are supposed to love their wives as Christ loves the church, and the wives are supposed to respect their husbands. So we have to keep that in mind. We have to do our parts, okay? Because marriage, we have to remember that marriage is a ministry. It's truly a reflection of God's plans and purposes for humankind. And so it's not a light thing. It's a great responsibility. And marriage thrives when there's mutual love and mutual respect, mutual submission, and a radical sacrifice, the unconditional love. And we're all deserving of that. So we're deserving of giving it and receiving it, because it is truly more blessed to give than receive. And with giving, we do receive. So just be encouraged with that, and just keep God in the center. Keep God as the foundation, and it'll turn out right. It'll turn out for your good in His glory. So I want to leave you with the quote from actor Liam Neeson when his wife passed away. He was quoted as saying, "Everyone says love hurts, but that is not true. Loneliness hurts, and rejection hurts. Losing someone hurts, and envy hurts. Everyone gets these things confused with love, but in reality, love is the only thing in this world that covers up all the pain and makes someone feel wonderful again. Love is the only thing in this world that does not hurt."